what Psalm 6 says when God feels silent. This verse hits different when you're falling apart. You think God's done with you. He's not. Psalm 23 isn't about sheep, it's about you. You don't have to earn what's already yours. Even in the valley, you're not walking alone. Before there was a name for what he was feeling, there was only this: a bed, damp, not from the heat of the night, but from him. A body that would not stop shaking. A voice, alone in the dark, that had nowhere left to send its questions except upward. Somewhere, in a room we will never see, on a night no calendar recorded, a man reached the end of himself. He did not reach for a weapon. He did not reach for a physician. He reached for 6 lines that would outlive empires. This is the story of the most dangerous prayer ever whispered. Not dangerous because of what it asked for. Dangerous because of what it admitted. Every investigation begins with a scene. Ours begins with an absence. The absence of comfort. The absence of daylight. The absence of anyone who could hear what was about to be said. We do not know the hour. We do not know the season. What we know is this: somewhere, a man opened his mouth, and instead of a command, the kind of command a king gives, the kind that moves armies, the kind that ends arguments, he gave an admission. He said, "Do not be angry with me." Think about that for a moment. Not protect me, not destroy my enemies, not even save me, not yet. The very first words out of his mouth were a plea for someone else's anger to stop. Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger, or discipline me in your wrath. That is not the opening of a man in control of his story. That is the opening of a man who believes, who is certain, that the anger is already there, that the discipline has already begun, that whatever is happening to him is not random. It is not bad luck. It is not the weather, or the wrong meal, or a passing illness. He believes it is aimed. To understand what we are watching, we have to understand what it means for a man like this to believe he is being disciplined. This is not an ordinary man. This is not someone unfamiliar with power, with survival, with getting back up after being knocked down. This is a voice with history behind it. A voice that has, in other rooms, in other verses, spoken with the confidence of someone who has faced giants, worn crowns, given orders that shaped nations. And now, in this room, that same voice cannot lift itself off the bed. This is the first thing every great documentary must do honestly. Show you the fall before it explains the height. So let us show you the fall. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I am faint. Not for I am wronged. Not for I am innocent. For I am faint. He is not building a legal case. He is not defending himself. He is simply telling the truth about his condition and hoping the truth is enough. We will spend the next several hours, though the words themselves took only moments to speak, inside 6 verses. 6 short, unbearable, structured, deliberate lines. They will not explain themselves easily. They will resist you, because this is not a story that was written to be understood quickly. It was written to be felt slowly, the way pain is felt slowly, in waves that arrive long after the wound. And by the end, we promise you this: the man who begins this story, broken, will not end it the way you expect. There is a turn coming. There is a reversal buried in the architecture of these words that scholars have studied for centuries, and audiences still miss on the first read. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Let us go back to the room. Let us go back to the bed. Let us go back to the voice that could not stop shaking. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are in agony. Notice the word. Not my heart, not my mind, not even my spirit, though that will come. Bones, the deepest, hardest, most load-bearing part of the human body, the part that holds everything else up. And even that has failed him. Modern medicine has a phrase for this now. The body keeps score. Long before there were clinical terms for what unresolved anguish does to a human frame, this voice in the dark already knew it in his skeleton. Whatever was happening to him was not staying in the realm of thought. It had moved. It had traveled downward, through the chest, through the muscle, into the marrow. My soul is in deep anguish. Here is where the documentary must slow down, because this is where most retellings rush past the most important detail in the entire account. He does not separate the physical from the spiritual. He does not say, "My body hurts, but my soul is fine." He does not perform the kind of composure we so often expect from people we call strong, people we call faithful, people we put on pedestals. He tells us both wounds are open at the same time. And then, the question. The one question every person watching this, right now, has asked at least once in a dark, in a version of their own room, in a version of their own bed. How long, Lord? How long? There's no answer given to this question. Not in this verse. Not in the next. This is not an oversight. This is the design. Because if we are being honest, truly honest, the kind of honest this documentary owes you, most suffering does not come with a countdown clock. Nobody tells you when it ends. Nobody hands you a schedule. You just have to ask the question into the dark and keep breathing while you wait for a reply that may not come tonight. This is the moment in every great story where the audience starts to wonder if the person they are watching will survive what they are going through. We wonder it too, because what happens next is not resolution. It is escalation. Turn, Lord, and deliver me. Save me because of your unfailing love. Listen carefully to the reasoning here, because it is unlike almost any argument we make today. He does not say, "Save me because I deserve it." He does not say, "Save me because I have been loyal, because I have been obedient, because I have earned this." He says, "Save me because of your unfailing love, not mine, not his own record, not his own case." This is a man who, in the middle of his own collapse, has stopped arguing his own merit and started appealing entirely to someone else's character. It is, in its own way, one of the boldest legal strategies ever recorded. I have no case. But you have a nature. Rule according to that. And then comes a line that has confused readers for generations. A line so strange, so seemingly out of place, that many documentaries, many sermons, many casual readings simply skip past it. Among the dead, no one proclaims your name. Who praises you from the grave? At first glance, this sounds almost like a threat, as if the man in the dark is trying to bargain. Keep me alive, or you'll lose a worshiper. But listen again. This is not manipulation. This is testimony about what death actually does to a voice. The dead do not sing. The grave does not lift its hands. Whatever this man still has left in him, however faint, however agonized, it is alive, and aliveness itself has become the argument. He is not negotiating for comfort. He is negotiating for the chance to keep speaking at all. And here is where the documentary must show you something most people miss entirely on their first pass through this story. Every single word up to this point has been aimed upward. a conversation between one man and whatever silence exists above the ceiling of that room. But the next lines change direction completely. They stop pointing up. They start pointing inward. I am worn out from my groaning. All night long, I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears. This is not one bad night. Listen to the tense of it. All night long. Not tonight. Not this one time. This is describing a pattern, a repeated, exhausting, physically measurable ritual of grief that's been happening again and again and again. He is not crying quietly into a pillow. He says he is flooding the bed, drenching the couch. This is a man describing an amount of weeping so significant that it has become, almost, a body of water, a small flood, a private storm system that exists only in that one room, night after night, that no one else in the world can see. And here is the detail that turns this from tragedy into something almost unbearable to witness. My eyes grow weak with sorrow. They fail because of all my foes. He's not only suffering, he's being watched while he suffers. There are people, we do not know how many, we do not know their names, we are never given the satisfaction of faces or motives, who are, in some way, part of the reason for this collapse. Foes, adversaries, people positioned, whether through action or simple presence, against him. This is the lowest point of our story. A man alone in physical agony, spiritually shaken, weeping so much his own eyesight has begun to fail, surrounded, even if only in his own perception, by people who wish him harm. If this documentary ended here, it would be a tragedy. It doesn't end here. Every documentary reaches a moment where the story you thought you understood suddenly reveals it was never quite what it appeared to be. Here is ours. Away from me, all you who do evil. Read that again, slowly, and notice what just happened. For 5 verses, we have watched a man crumble. We have watched him beg. We have watched him weep until his own eyes gave out. We have watched him make his case, not on his own merit, but purely on the character of the one he was speaking to. He has been, by every measure, the one without power in this scene. And now, suddenly, he is given a command. Away from me, not please leave, not I wish you would go. A command, sharp, certain, spoken by a man who, verses earlier, could not even summon the strength to describe his own suffering without his voice breaking. Something has changed in the room, and the change did not happen because his circumstances changed. Nothing external has been resolved. No enemy has surrendered. No illness has visibly lifted. No sound from outside the room has announced good news. The turn happens entirely within the sentence itself. This is the small twist, the one most viewers miss because it is disguised as a single short sentence, easy to skim past on the way to the bigger reveal that follows. But we will not skim past it, because this line is doing something remarkable. It is drawing a boundary, not with a sword, not with soldiers, not with proof, but with conviction alone. A man who moments ago described himself as faint is now strong enough to order his adversaries out of his presence. How? The next line answers a question, and it is the hinge on which this entire story turns. For the Lord has heard my weeping. Not, the Lord will hear. Not, I hope the Lord hears. Has heard. Past tense. Already accomplished. Already settled. Somewhere, in some register we cannot see, before any visible change had occurred in the room at all. This is the small twist of our story. The transformation did not come from a change in circumstance. It came from a change in certainty. We promised you, at the very beginning of this film, that the man who started this story, broken, would not end it the way you expected. Here is the reveal we have been building towards since the opening frame. The Lord has heard my weeping. The Lord has heard my cry for mercy. The Lord accepts my prayer. 3 declarations, each one stronger than the last, each one repeating the same core claim from a slightly different angle, the way a witness repeats testimony under cross-examination, not because the first answer was doubted, but because the truth of it deserves to be said more than once. Heard my weeping, heard my cry for mercy, accepts my prayer. And here is what makes this documentary different from every dramatized reenactment you have seen before. There is no scene of rescue, no moment where soldiers burst through a door, no visual proof, no physical evidence presented to the camera that anything about this man's outward situation has changed at all. The bones may still ache. The bed may still, for all we know, remain damp with the residue of the previous night's weeping. The foes mentioned earlier have not been shown fleeing, defeated, or apologizing. And yet, the tone of the entire room has been transformed. This is the major reveal. The victory in this story was never going to be shown to us as an event. It was always going to be shown to us as a shift in a voice. Consider what this means for everyone who has ever lain awake, certain that no one was listening. Consider what it means that the turning point of this entire account is not an external rescue, but an internal certainty, a conviction so total that it reshapes every sentence that follows it. The final lines confirm it. All my enemies will be overwhelmed with shame and anguish. They will turn back and suddenly be put to shame. Notice the word suddenly, not gradually, not after a long campaign, a long argument, a long visible struggle. Suddenly, the same abruptness that turned a broken man's voice into a commanding one now becomes the fate of everyone who stood against him. What took him 6 verses to arrive at, from faintness to conviction, is compressed for his adversaries into a single unexpected reversal. We began this film with a question. What happens to a man when he reaches the end of himself? We can now answer it, not with speculation, but with the only evidence this story ever gave us. The evidence of the words themselves. He did not stop being in pain the moment he finished speaking. The bones do not heal in the space of a sentence. The tears do not evaporate simply because a conviction has taken hold. If we are honest, and this documentary has tried, from its very first frame, to be honest, the ache almost certainly continued into the night that followed, and the night after that. But something had shifted that could not be undone. He had said out loud, into what felt like silence, the very worst of what he carried. The faintness, the agony in his bones, the anguish in his soul, the unanswered how long, the flood of nightly weeping, the failing eyes, the presence of foes he could not defeat on his own. And instead of that honesty destroying him, it became the very thing that turned his voice from a whisper into a command. This is not a story about a man who was rescued before he had to feel the full weight of his own suffering. This is a story about a man who felt every ounce of it and spoke anyway. 6 short verses. No named villain, no described illness, no visible ending, no triumphant final image of the enemies actually retreating, no closing shot of health restored. Only a room, a bed, a voice in the dark, and a turn, quiet, internal, undeniable, from how long to he has heard. That turn is the entire story. It always was.